Nick Thompson, the gut doctor, here to discuss all things dog itch. And we're going to talk about Apoquel towards the end as well. It's kind of controversial. Some people love it, some people hate it. So let's just have a look at some of the detail there. I think let's just have a little chat while people are coming on. I hope you're well. It's been a bit of a funny day today. Weather not great this morning. It was blowing a gale when I took the dogs out. But this evening it was really quite pleasant going across the top with the dogs. We've got the new puppy. He's called Jet, and he's about 11 months now. He's a rescue. He's a big lurcher, so he's twice the size of our girls, and yet he is not. He's twice the size, and yet he's a puppy, and everybody thinks that the girls are the puppies, but actually they're super well behaved. And he's there jumping, trying to jump on their shoulders because he's rather tall. As I say, I hope you're really well. Here we are. I think Autumn has just whispered that she is coming. How there's that change. I've got a September birthday, and when it always used to be the start of the school term and my birthday, there would always be this slight shift in the air temperature, and things are changing. And I think that started this morning, this very morning. Alison K. Evans is saying, hello, one of my Bernies will not licking and will not stop, I suspect, licking and nibbling himself. Alison, you're in the right place. We're going to be talking about that today. And one of the reasons that we are not going to be we're not going to be talking a lot about Apoquel, because what I find in my practice is that I see a lot of histories of itchy dogs, and what I find is that quite often that dogs will be put straight onto Apoquel rather than trying to really dig into what's actually causing the itch. And I think that's really important. So that, for me, that's a little bit like driving along in the car, a little light comes on the dashboard, and rather than stopping and seeing what's wrong with the engine, you just pull the not that you can do it in cars these days, but you know what I mean. You pull the little light out of the dashboard, and then you go, look, no more light on the dashboard. For me, that's what Apoquel does. I'm not saying it doesn't have a place. I've never prescribed it in my life before personally, but I do have a number of patients who are on it, and I think that they would potentially be in a difficult spot. Personally, I prefer to use steroids if I have to, and I'm going to tell you about that towards the end. But the thing is, Apoquel's been around about 10, 12 years now, and steroids have been around about 70 years. So I think that we just know an awful lot more about steroids, and I find it's quite easy to taper the steroid dose. If I have to put anybody onto steroids, I feel that I have failed as a veterinary surgeon. Okay, whereas the pharmaceutical paradigm says, yay, dog has stopped scratching, job done, whether using steroids or Cytopoint or Apoquel or whatever it might be. Okay, the way I look at itchy dogs is to say, let's try and work out why they're itchy and actually go to the heart of the disease. It's not always easy, but that is the how would you say it? I think it's really important to try and get to the root of the problem rather than just saying, oh, take this and your dog will stop itching. Yes, they will stop itching, but as soon as you take them off the Apoquel, take them off the steroids, they're going to start itching again, most likely. Okay, Jackie Baker says, harvest mites, how do you get rid of them? Brilliant. I'm going to talk about that, Jackie, right now, actually, because, and I wasn't even planning to say this, because it's the beginning of autumn, and I'm filming today with the window open. I normally put a blind down, but it looks kind of night-timey in here. So I thought we'd have a little bit of natural light while we've still got some at 7 o'clock in the evening. So Jackie, what we're going to let's talk about harvest mites. Harvest mites are kind of tiny little mites. They're about the size of a full stop in a paperback book, and they are orange. And the two places that you find them mainly, because they like kind of cozy, warm places, the two places that you find them mainly is between the toes. Okay, so between the toes. So have a look in there for these little orange dots. The posh name, because I did lots of parasitology at Edinburgh when I was there, is Trombicular autumnalis. That name has been drilled into my head, and now I can't forget it. Autumnalis, because it's an autumn thing. We also call it harvest mites because it's meant to be autumn when they're bringing in the wheat and the barley and what have you. So they come along, and there are two types of dogs, as there are with fleas and ticks. Okay, some dogs really attract them, and some dogs don't attract them too much. There are also those dogs who could have a few and don't really itch very much, and there are the other dogs who have even one, or they even think about a harvest mite and they get itchy. Okay, and what we use here is we'll use the Vermex flea and tick product, yeah, because they're a little creepy crawly, they're a little insect. Okay, and so if we can make the dog, the feet, the ears, the second place is the ears. There's a tiny little pocket here at the back of the ear, yeah. The dog's ears are, I can't do dog's ears with human ears. Dog's ears are a bit like this. Okay, and at the back there's a little pocket here where they keep their pocket money, usually, called Henry's pocket. Okay, it's my favorite anatomical quirk of the entire dog. Okay, it's called Henry's pocket. So have a look in there, because if they're going to be anywhere on the head, that's where they'll be. Okay, tiny little orange things. And if you find them, what we do is we use Vermex, flea and tick. Okay, they're not fleas, they're not ticks, but the flea and tick makes the dog less attractive, contains garlic and all sorts of goodies to make the dog less attractive to fleas and ticks. And the Trombicular autumnalis also doesn't like it. The other thing that we will use when we're not using it on the children is this one. Okay, this is a spray, and this is made by my wife Ellie. And so that's one of the things that we use. We use it on the kids, on their legs, when we go camping and what have you, and we put it on the dogs when it's very ticky, or if we find any harvest mites. We haven't found any harvest mites on the dogs yet, although they are a little bit itchy. So Jackie, that might be why, and Alison, that's possibly why your guys, depending on how northerly or southerly, I think harvest mites, and I don't know, but I'm just guessing, harvest mites will come in the south before they come in way up in the north, because it's a bit warmer, 1 or 2 degrees warmer in the south. I used to go to college, I used to live in Gloucestershire, and I used to go to college in Edinburgh, and you could actually feel the 2-3 degrees difference. Okay, so I'm not being northist or southist, I'm just saying that's my experience. Carol Henson's here, and Zeb is here. Greetings to you, Zeb. And Louise Hinrichsen Truman. Great name, Louise. That's a very good name. I'll give you those. Will it do it? No, because it's not Facebook. Oh, pity. I have had a few red mites on my dog from my chickens. What would I do? Yeah, I would do that. I would do Vermex flea and tick, yeah, as an internal thing. And I would think about using something like that. It's called Dermadog Insect Defense Spray as a topical. Yeah, you can put it in the Henry's pocket. You can put it between the toes of the dogs. Super safe. I'll use it on myself actually, if I'm doing anything in the fields where I think, oh, it's a bit ticky, just to head things off. So that's what we're going to do. So we've here we go. Already we are off topic, but this is such an interesting topic. I was taught dermatology by a lovely guy called Keith Thoday, and he used to say that 80% of cases that you'll see will be itchy dogs. And I would say yes. I would say nowadays possibly 80% of cases that vets see will either be skin or gut. That's my experience. But skin is very, very, and itchy skin is the most common manifestation of skin issues. Okay. So let's just have a look. Drew says she uses the spray for the 6-month-old. Great. And Vic, how about that? And I'm not even paying these guys to say anything. Vic says, I use the spray daily. Smells lovely. I also use Vermix. Great. Use what works, guys. Yeah, they're both really safe. They're both natural products. And Carol says, does your wife have a website? Yes, it's called dermadog.com, and for the Vermex products, if you go to verm-x.com, is it .com or is it .co.uk? If you just Google Vermex, it's called Vermex Flea and Tick. Okay, if you just Google Vermex Flea and Tick, and the Vermex website will come up immediately. Okay, go for it. And Kaz says, what was the spray? There you go. Last one, Dermadog Insect Defense Spray. And there you go. You can see it contains lemongrass, rose geranium, and Ellie said, Rosie says .com, verm-x.com. But coming back to the Dermadog Insect Defense Spray, lemongrass, rose geranium. That's one of the key things. And I said, let's put some cedarwood in it because there's another product called Cedarcide. And neem oil, Connie, yes, can be useful, but I've had some dogs who've reacted to it. So I'm a little bit careful with using neem oil. But, it's a natural product. It's just like, it's very pokey. Okay. Guys, lots of people here now, and I've gone way off time. I apologize. I quite enjoy doing these. Okay. Every week we do the Raw Pet Medics, and so I'm sharing 45 minutes with the other two guys, but now I've got you to myself, and it's really lovely to be able to just go back and forth and to see you commenting in there. I'd just like to say thank you to Vermex, who allow me to put time aside to put presentations together for you. They are helping immensely with this. It's all about education, guys. It's all about me learning as much as I can, and then filtering that, and then passing down to you the good stuff. That's what it's all about. So I think we've got the swing of this now. But Rosie, oh yes, here we go. We'll go like that. Okay, so this is me down in the corner, and then we'll go, whoa, not over to there. That is let's let's go like that. That's me trying to be efficient. Ding. So that's me there, and so I'll just go over to there. And so Rosie, if you can just confirm that you can hear me and you can see the screen, I'd be really, really grateful. Yay, she says it's worked. Okay, let's dig in, guys, and then I'll come back. And if we've got gazillions of questions, I imagine we will, because as I say, 80% of cases that walk through the door at the vets are skin. There you go. That's my that's my son asking for an app, of all things. Drives me crazy so much. screen time with children these days. But there you go. That's another story. Thank you, Arthur. We'll let you go. There we go. Okay, so just to recap, and for anybody who's come in a wee bit late, I see quite a lot of dogs, itchy dogs, who just go straight onto Apoquel, and I'm much more keen to try and find out, where possible, what's making them itch in the first place. Okay, so let's go through the process that I go through. So this is a bit of a roadmap on on how to get through the itchy territory. Okay, so first question, and you can type a number if you like. How many, broadly speaking, how many causes of itch are there for dogs? Yeah, I'll give you a minute or two. How many, just broadly speaking, because obviously there's probably 2,000 if you look at them individually, at least. But if you had to bunch them up into a few broad categories, I almost told you then. If you had to put them into a few broad categories, how many categories would there be for itch? Anybody who said 3 gets a gold star. There are 3 broad categories. Now, this, you could say there's 4, and I'll tack one on at the end. But the biggies are 3, and there they are. 3 major things that we're going to go through this evening, and just checking the time to make sure that we've got time to do everything. Like I said, if we've got loads and loads and loads and loads of questions, we might do another itch and just answer lots of questions. I think, Rosie, what do you think about that? Because it's such a big thing. So we can think about that. If you'd like to do that, then just give us a shout, and then Rosie will be able to see how keen people are to do a bit more on skin and itch and what have you. We could do one on ears, for example. How about that? There's another request from my son. Joy of joys. Not while I'm working. Okay, so parasites, sensitivities, and infection. Those are the 3 broad groups that we're looking at. Yeah, okay. So Rosie on the fly is suggesting, why don't we do an itch Q&A next month? That's 4 weeks down the line. That will take us to Thursday the 19th of September. All right, so there you go. We're changing it immediately. We were going to do dental, something on dental and keeping teeth clean and microbiome of mouth and what have you, but let's do, on Thursday the 19th of September, we're going to do Q&A on itchy dogs. Okay, and everything that we do today will kind of set up some of your thinking, so that may help you to structure questions, or may help you to eliminate the problem with the itchy dog. Okay, so here we go. Too much chat today and running out of time. Oh well, it's fun. Okay, so the first one. Okay, so first one, parasites. Let's look at parasites. So by far the most common cause of itchy dogs is fleas. Okay, we always have to remember mange, but it's less of a problem these days because people are using the Brevectos and the NexGuards of this world. By the way, if you're interested in the use of Brevecto and NexGuard for ticks and Lyme's disease and what have you, Raw Pet Medics 2 days ago on Raw Pet Medics on YouTube and on Facebook. You know, just type in Raw Pet Medics. We did a whole thing about fleas and ticks and Lyme disease, and we talked quite a lot about using these pharmaceutical products. But the reason I say that is that because people are using these pharmaceuticals, Simparica, NexGuard, Brevecto, and what have you, for fleas and ticks, it's taking out mange. When I was first qualified, sarcoptic and demodectic mange were quite a big deal, and you had to, and some of you will remember it, there's the kind of magic milk, this white, horrendously toxic stuff that you used to have to bathe the dog in to try and kill the mites. And I would say, and I'm no fan of the new products, but I think it's better. It's less toxic than those. Less obviously toxic than those, shall we say. Okay. Not forgetting Kailatiella. Kailatiella is they call it walking dandruff. So if you see dandruff on your hands after you've been mucking about with the dogs, or you see bits of dandruff that are like wandering around, that may be Kailatiella, more whitey than the black of fleas. And then we've got the harvest mites, and we've gone through that. Anybody who missed it, we said treat them like fleas and ticks, and use something like Vermex flea and tick herbal product in the food. Yeah, in the food, and we use the Dermadog insect defense spray on areas where the harvest mites might be. And you can use that on a daily basis if you fancy. And the flea and tick in the food, that's a daily thing as well. Okay, so here you go. That's the Vermex flea and tick product. I like it. It's non-toxic. Very, very well received by dogs. Really, really good. Contains mint, ginger, fenugreek, neem. This is neem leaf, not the neem oil, so it's not going on the skin, it's going in the body. Bit of lemon balm, a little bit of garlic, and you can smell the garlic. It's really fresh. They make it fresh on a eat batches, small batches regularly. So really nice stuff. Very, very good. Okay. Second one is sensitivities. Now this is a real biggie, okay? Because parasites, you can generally see them, or you can detect the lesions, and you can one way or another work with your vet to eliminate those parasites. You have to do that because until you do that, you don't know what the other things are. This is kind of standard dermatology, okay? Once you've eliminated the possibility of parasites, using pharmaceuticals or not using pharmaceuticals, then we're into allergy or sensitivity. Technically they're sensitivities, but most people talk of them as allergies. That's okay. What's in a name? Okay. And these are often the primary cause of infections. Okay. That is to say, your skin doesn't generally get infected unless it's flary, it's red, it's wet for some other reason. And this is often the primary cause of the problem. Okay. And if you have a sensitivity to indoor, outdoor, environmental allergens, then your vet will diagnose atopy, which is a posh way of saying you've got environmental sensitivities. Okay. So there are three major sensitivities. Okay. And very simple. You've got indoor sensitivities, house dust mites, storage mites, and what have you. And every house in the country has them, and yet every house that has dogs doesn't have itchy dogs. Okay, so it's not the house dust or whatever, or the house dust mites that cause the problems. It is the dog's reaction to those mites. Okay, all dogs are exposed to them, only the sensitive ones. Equally, there's a lot of pollen about in the summer, and only some dogs are sensitive to it, just like only some people are sensitive to hay fever. Okay, if pollen caused hay fever, every single person in the UK would have, and Europe and beyond, would have hay fever. Okay, so it's your individual reaction to those normal, let's face it, house dust's been around forever, more or less. Storage mites have been around forever. Pollen's been around forever. Okay, so thing is, it's quite difficult to manipulate those. Even if you get a Hoover, an outdoor, there's not a lot you can do about the pollen, because as soon as you walk out the front door, you're going to be confronted with several dozen, at least, pollens. However, with Food, there is a lot you can do. For me, in my experience, and the experience of a lot of holistic vets, is that wheat, beef, and chicken are the most allergenic elements of the diet. And so, if you're thinking, crumbs, why is the dog itching? One of the simple things that you can do, it may not, cure them, but is you just eliminate any wheat, so biscuit of any sort, wheat, beef, or chicken. Often you get wheat in, not very nice treats. Okay, treats should be 100% dried meat of some sort, not chicken, not beef. Okay, so what can we do for indoor allergens? The conventional guys will do hyposensitization. They may give you an indoor spray to kill all the mites indoors. They may take you off kibble, or say store your kibble in the freezer because of storage mites. Outdoor, they may use again hyposensitization. These are jabs that you can give dogs which are effective up to about the age of 4 years old, which can reduce the reactivity of the dog to indoor outdoor allergens in about 40-45% of cases. There can be some impact in 40-45% of cases. Okay, but it does involve a jab every month for a year. Okay, which is a bit of a pain, but it's not good having itchy dogs, let me tell you. Just for completeness sake, in terms of sensitivities, if you put a brand new collar on the dog and the dog gets some kind of contact sensitivity because of the metal of the buckle or because of the man-made fiber, something like that, then obviously that's another type of sensitivity, but that's usually pretty obvious. Okay, so I won't dwell on that one. These pollens, yeah, those are bed bugs. I bet everybody's wincing very slightly and possibly scratching themselves looking at that. That looks like that's on some woven fiber, maybe a carpet or something like that. But yeah, those are the guys. But remember, they don't cause the problem. Your reaction, your dog's reaction to those things is the problem. These guys have probably been on the planet for longer than we have. And so, respect to them for lasting longer. And they'll probably be on the planet after we have long gone as a species, I would wager. Food. Okay. There's a lot you can do about food, and the easy way to think about it is wheat, beef, and chicken is to start with. Or if the dog's dog bit squitty, can't get it right, just get rid of wheat, beef, and chicken. You've got to feed them something anyway, so it's a non-cost therapeutic to a certain extent. So okay, so that's food. Food can make dogs itch, and I could talk to you all day about food and itch. Let's go to the third one: infection. Okay, infection. There are three major types of infection. There's bacteria, there's yeast, there's fungus. Bacteria, the most common one by far, is called staphylococcal. It's called cocci because it's ring shaped when you look at it under a microscope, and it's normal. Arthur's being very persistent, isn't he? Let's just get rid of that. So everybody's got staph on their skin. It's only when your skin becomes unhappy because you've got some kind of sensitivity or you've got horrendous fleas or something that it will take off. Okay, because this is a very good example of the biome and the balanced biome. Okay, so you don't see staphylococcal bloom flare if the skin is fundamentally happy. Yeast is very common and very easy to see. and smell. Okay, I'll show you some pictures in a minute. And fungi, less common. I'll show you some photos in a minute. We call it ringworm. It's got nothing. It's not necessarily ringed, and it ain't got nothing to do with worms. Okay, but apart from that, it's a great name. And so let's have a look. So this is staphylococcal dermatitis. Okay, the most common, if we look here, the most common would be on the left. I should have done it the other way around. So on the left, you see you've got kind of these, they call them collarettes. You'll see the edge of those areas that will often be scurfy scaly. If we then go to the middle picture, you can see you've got this ring, like a fairy ring of mushrooms in the field, except smaller. Obviously, that's about an inch across. And you've got a central area of infection and a at the edge of the area of infection, you've got where the skin is becoming desquamed, and you're getting these flakes coming off. These are both on the right hand side and in the middle picture there. They are examples of a localized, okay, some people call them leopard spots because you can get a number of them. Yeah, commonly seen in the groin of the dog. Yeah, you just turn them over and there you see them. If you see those, you've got staphylococcal dermatitis. Some vets will just go straight for an oral antibiotic, but I will usually go for either topical. I'll use either essential oils, or I will use maybe some lucillin, or I will use a shampoo, something like Malabis. I don't use Malaseb, which is the more common one. I use Malabis because I think it's gentler, and you only need to put it on for 5 minutes. Okay, so that's the one on the right is kind of how it starts. They're usually not quite as white as that, but if you see anything that even vaguely resembles a leopard spot or several leopard spots, you've got staphylococcal dermatitis. Don't panic. Just think, aha, we've got an infection. We need to deal with that and what caused it in the first place. Okay, I could talk to you all day on staphylococcal dermatitis. One of the interesting manifestations is here over on the left, and it looks like the skin has got bran, good old fashioned bran, kind of stuff that you feed to your horse or your kids or your husband or whoever. The bran, yeah. So it's kind of slightly browny flakes. If you see a more generalized infection with staphylococcal dermatitis, you can see this generalized branny effect. And if you see that, then you need to really go to town with the shampoo over the entire body, probably twice a week for at least 2 weeks. You'd be surprised. It's often quite easy to get rid of, but just getting rid of the infection is not going to do it. You have to get rid of the underlying disease which allowed the infection. Rosie, can you see me? Can anybody see me? Can you see me, guys? Video and audio dropped. Only lavender strip across the bottom is visible. How bizarre. Wow. Just as we were. I'm back. Okay, I'm back there. I'm going to try and go back in. Um, Fabulous guys, thank you for letting me know. It's just I can't see any comments when I'm over in on the other screen. So what I'll do is I'll go back in, budding like that. Can you see Malassezia yeast there, Rosie? And then what I'll do, maybe it's some kind of timeout thing. I'm charging, so it's not a battery thing. Okay, so you can see it. Right, let's get to the end, guys, because I could talk to you about itchy dogs all day long. So this is Malassezia yeast. It smells of cheesy Doritos. And if you see that, then there's two things you must think. Is A, I've got to get rid of the Malassezia, and it's usually using a shampoo. And B, why is the Malassezia there in the first place? Everybody watching this today has got Malassezia on their skin, okay? But it's at such low level because all the good guys on your skin are inhibiting the yeast come up. But if that skin becomes devitalized, shall we say, yeah, a little bit red, a little bit itchy, a little bit moist, then the Malassezia just blooms. This is ringworm. Okay, as you see, it's quite ring shaped, but not completely, but quite ring shaped. It's not usually that itchy, but it can be. And it's one of those things that once they start in an area, I will use classically, I'll either use kind of things like lavender or tea tree, just topically. Often don't use them neat. You might delete them 50-50. In the old days, we used to use neat vodka on a bit of cotton wool, but you have to do it quite frequently because it evaporates off very, very quickly. And at a push, I mean, there are licensed products, and obviously, as a veterinary surgeon, I say you must use the licensed product. But sometimes I've heard some people use a bit of caniston, okay, and that will actually tell you whether it's a fungal infection or whether it's something else. Okay, nice little dog. Okay, just before I lose you again, let's just talk about Apoquel. Apoquel is quite a new thing. Came out in 2012. It is a Janus kinase inhibitor. They call it JAK for short, JAK inhibitor. It affects, as it says on the screen there, IL-31. It's interleukin-31, which is to do with inflammation, immunological response, and the itch response. And it basically just puts a spanner in the itch and immunological response. There are about 10 other products which are licensed for use in humans, and they are used for things like rheumatoid arthritis and other kind of autoimmune disease, i.e. they are immunosuppressive. And yet, strangely, this the Apoquel didn't get a human license, and so I suspect they had a conversation saying, "Oh crumbs, we've spent all this money trying to develop Apoquel." The posh name is oclacitinib, okay, and the group of products which have all got human licenses are called tinibs. They're all tinibs, okay, and they're all monoclonal antibody, and so they attack very specific receptors. And Apoquel attacks an itch receptor. It's the JAK1 and the JAK3 enzyme receptor, okay. The result being the dog itches less. It can kick in 2 to 4 hours, and definitely within a few days. And you'll use it kind of twice a day for the first week, and then after that you'll take it down to once a day. When it first came out, it only had a license for about I can't remember, but about 2-3 weeks or so, and now it's got an indefinite license. You can use it. I've had patients come to me who've been on it for 4 years, say, which terrifies me. And let's just have a look why it terrifies. It does do what it says on the tin, guys, okay? And if it's either hell for the dog or Apoquel, or I'm going to put this down or Apoquel, then I will go, let's do the Apoquel. Okay, I'm the older I get, the more practical I get. I can tell you that. This is from the NOAA website, the National Office of Animal Health, which sounds a bit kind of governmenty. You've probably heard me say that before, but actually it's not. It's just a club of all the manufacturers get together and make a booklet of all the data sheets. You can see this online. All you need to do is get the name of the drug and Google NOAA and name of drug, and you'll come out. Okay, this is not a vetty thing. So Apoquel made by Zoetis, and let's just have a look. This is there in black and white on the NOAA website, and they say do not use in dogs with evidence of immune suppression. Okay, so stop there for a second. That means that it's because of all its cousins are used for its immunosuppressive effects. Apoquel is also known to have immunosuppressive effects, which is one of the complications, or one of the side effects with higher dose steroid. Is they say, oh god, it suppresses the immune system. Well, actually this can suppress the immune system as well. So and I would say arguably, if you're using low dose steroid, you're having less immunosuppressive effect than perhaps a standard dose of Apoquel. Okay, and worryingly, and I think this wasn't in the original data sheets, it says do not use in dogs, this is the second line of the third paragraph, with evidence of progressive malignant neoplasia. Okay, that is to say, if the dog has got active malignant, spreading cancer, don't use this drug. Now that's pretty scary, isn't it? Because there's a lot of dogs who are on this drug, and cancer can just come out of nowhere. And if that's a malignant cancer and they're on that drug, will the Apoquel enhance and speed up the progression of that tumor? Okay, that's a logical thing to say. I'm just kind of doing a thought experiment, really. So that's a little bit scary, and there is quite a lot of talk online about the association between octasitinib, difficult to say, and cancer. Okay, so have a little look at that. I'm not saying don't use it, because every drug under the sun has a downside. It's just do your homework before you go for it. Octasitinib. Okay. Oh yeah, some of the other problems. Okay, so they haven't tested it in pregnancy and lactation and breeding dogs and what have you. Okay, fine. What is really interesting is that because it says it modulates, which is Zoetis speak for suppresses the immune system and may increase susceptibility to infection. Okay, so it means that you use it for a dog who's got itch, and when you use it, it drops the immune system, and so they're more prone to getting skin infection. Okay, that's a recognized problem. And again, they say it may exacerbate neoplastic cancer conditions, which is pretty scary. And so they say, very helpfully, dogs receiving Apoquel tablets should therefore be monitored for the development of infections and neoplasia cancer. Okay. Slightly chilling. I'm not making a judgment here. I'm just saying it doesn't make me feel comfortable. And then this is a little bit further down on the same page. This is the problems and the rate of problems that they get with Apoquel. Okay, so very commonly, and I was stunned to see this. I looked at it about 6 months ago, but forgotten it. And we're talking about more than one animal per 10 animals treated. We see, which I find is stunning. Notice they say more than one animal, and so if for me, if a pharmaceutical company is saying more than one, then I'm thinking 2 or 3 per 10. Okay, so very common pyoderma, that is infection of the skin. Skin lumps could be anything. There are benign and there are nasty skin lumps, as you know, and papilloma, which is warts, which is a known, we would say in medical world, we'd say sequel. It's a complication with the very young and the very old, because the very young have a naive immune system, and therefore the papillomavirus can go in and cause warts. And when you're very old, your immune system's getting a bit weak, and so you can get warts. And if you get immunosuppressive disease like HIV or something like that, then warts are a big deal. So that screams immunosuppression, and that's in. I'm reading that as 2 or 3 animals per 10 treated, which worries me. Yeah. Remember, guys, I'm not saying don't use it. It does do what it says on the tin. But what's the downside? So less than 1 in 10 means, and they define that as not very common. So very common, pyoderma, skin lump, papilloma. Common, we've got that great long list. Lethargy, lipoma, polydipsia, which means drinking a lot, increased appetite, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. Histiocytoma, which is a benign, kind of purpley tumor on the skin, fungal skin infections, periodermatitis, which is itchy, infected, flared feet, otitis, which is these, lymphadenopathy, enlarged lymph nodes, cystitis is cystitis, and aggression. That's not fun. And very rare. So this is less than 1 animal in 10,000. We've got anemia, lymphoma, which is the tumor, which is nasty, and convulsion. You shouldn't be using Apoquel if the dog has seizures. Okay, I'll tell you that now. Well, I wouldn't anyway. I think that's it. No, just to plug the Raw Pet Medics. That's one of our the old logo. We do the Raw Pet Medics at 7 p.m. every Tuesday. So come along to that and we discuss this kind of thing. We will be discussing Apoquel further, actually, one of these fine days. I think that's us. If you need to get hold of me, then on Instagram, Holistic Vet UK, that's the Facebook, and there's another Facebook, and that's the website at the bottom. So all good. Thank you. Okay, so just going to start here. Jackie said, it's a big long thing. So unfortunately, our deerhound was prescribed steroids, but the dose is so high it destroyed his kidneys. Yeah, you prescribe anything at too high a dose, and you will have major issues. Again, I'll say, if I had a choice, I would use low dose steroid, and in order to try and get the dose as low as possible. And my job then would be to try and get the dog off the steroids. Okay. Wow. Okay. Let's see. Can I put that on? This is Norma saying, have a little read. Past dog of mine had all these on Apoquel, warts, lumps. The warts were horrible, big cauliflower warts, lost weight, diarrhea. I believe he may have had cancer in the end when we had to say goodbye to it. It was in the early days of Apoquel. God bless you, Norma. Thank you for sharing that with us. Lovely picture of a collie there. Yeah, great. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Wendy. Team Edwards, Labrador Rescue. We like Wendy. We like you all. Wendy's, I know her on a regular basis. Janet says, "Thanks, Nick." Good guys. It looks like you've had your fill. Yeah, great stuff. I have taken 50 minutes of your life. I do apologize, but it's been kind of fun, hasn't it? I could give you a day. If you'd like to do a day on itch and somebody can organize it, I'd be really happy to give you an entire day with Q&A every hour, say, for the whole day. Yeah, that would be a really fun day. If anybody fancies organising that, we might get a bit of sponsorship from Vermex if we talk to them nicely. You never know. Guys, I'm going to go. Big hugs to everybody. Have a great evening. All the very, very, very best. Let's just take Norm off there. And let me get a bit bigger. Dink. Hide. So thanks for bearing with me. Really enjoyed that. It's great to have you here. And I'm going to go. Have a great evening. And we'll speak soon. Thank you.